With an absolute ton of huge games about to drop over the next few months, I thought I'd do something a little different with this video and round up my impressions on some of the indie games I've gotten a chance to play over the past few weeks and months, and give them at least some minor coverage. In this video, I'm going to give my thoughts on 3 indie titles that are currently available on Xbox One as well as some other platforms, and if you've enjoyed this style of video, make sure you hit like and let me know in the comments if there's any other indie games you think are worth covering on the channel. I've got a heap of reviews set to come out throughout the month of September, so this is something just a little bit different. So let's get started with Indie Roundup. Meow Motors from developers ArtVostok is a fun little kart racer with some charm, but a simplistic gameplay loop that is more so aimed at kids and younger players in general. There are no glaring problems with the game. To give it credit, it runs smoothly and has good visuals, but it's not a kart racer to challenge the big dogs of Mario and Crash. This doesn't mean the game isn't worth playing, but just don't go into Meow Motors expecting to be wowed with a high fidelity driving experience. The drifting is essentially non-existent, and you have to forget all you know about power sliding in both Mario Kart and Crash Team Racing to really get how the developers want you to do so in this quaint little title. Which is a problem because there are races specifically designed for drifting. Meow Motors runs in Unreal Engine 4 and it shows. Like I said, it has gorgeous visuals and the presentation is really great. Definitely something for the kids to play, and a bit of couch co-op wouldn't go astray with the kids on a rainy day. I'd like to thank the team over at 181 Gaming for getting me a code from the developers for this one. I really appreciate their support. And go check them out for a great gaming website filled with reviews, impressions and op-ed articles. Definitely worth your time. Damsel is a gorgeously stylized action puzzle platformer from Australian developers Screwtape Studios. And firstly, it's incredibly refreshing to see a game come out from an Australian team. It always makes me very happy. And I'd also like to thank Screwtape for hooking me up with a code, and I'd love to have the time to really dig in further to this game and complete a full review, but I've just not had the time. So again, thanks for the devs for supplying a code to a little guy like me. Bottom line, Damsel is tough. Each level plays out in between some really cool, well-designed comic book-esque narrative sections and requires the player, as the titular character Damsel, to traverse small but densely packed levels to collect items, free hostages, hack computers, disarm bombs and defeat enemies. As you progress further and further through the huge list of levels, these get tougher and tougher, with crowds of enemies, loads of hazards and so much to think about as you jump, bounce, kick and shoot that it can get totally overwhelming. The controls are really well designed though, and actually fairly simple if you break them down, but when trying to speedily run through each area whilst not dying, it gets considerably hectic. The animations and graphics are really well designed also, with a gorgeous colour palette that complements the game's themes of vampires and blood, and the environments that you're tasked with exploring through each level are interesting and varied. I'm just going to put it out there, I'm absolutely terrible at this game. I thought I was doing well until I started reaching harder levels, and it took a lot of effort not to get overwhelmed and die, or for my wild firing to kill a hostage and start the level over. But Damsel is perfect for speedrunners and diehards of the genre though, as you're immediately placed in a leaderboard after a level so you can see how you compare, and this drives you to try and be better and faster each run. It's definitely a fun puzzle platformer with style and a huge list of levels to complete to master the complex challenges placed in your way, and hopefully bodes well for the future of this Aussie studio. Streets of Rogue is so incredibly cool. A top-down, pixel art joy of a title, one part roguelike, one part immersive sim, drenched with charm, brilliant gameplay, great writing, and a smorgasbord of ways to play as you travel through procedurally generated levels with a host of missions to tackle and specific tasks to complete depending on your character of choice. And playing the way you want is definitely the main attraction in Streets of Rogue from one-man developer Matt Dabrowski. You can play as a huge host of different characters, from a run-and-gun soldier to a stealthy assassin, a hacker, bartender, doctor, shopkeeper, shapeshifter, or even a gorilla, and each character makes you play in a completely different way. Sometimes, and with some characters, you will have the option to talk your way entirely through levels, not killing any NPCs, and finding creative ways to complete objectives, and some characters are designed for pure mayhem and destruction. Your exploration through these small but densely packed levels will lead you to find cool ways to approach your missions, and creative ways to succeed through conversation and a host of tools and gadgets depending on your class. Streets of Rogue's creativity and gameplay design doesn't just stop at the playable character. Each person you come across in the levels is also one of the playable character archetypes, and will be at the mercy of the same gameplay mechanics that you are as the player. Dabrowski has done a stellar job in creating this very smartly designed world with many underlying rules, so many of which are designed to be broken by the player to uncover the limits of the game. You can even jump into levels with up to 4 players, either in couch or online co-op, and this can create some hugely hilarious role-playing opportunities, where the players are almost limitless in the way they can approach the game. I've put quite a few hours into Streets of Rogue so far, and I'm still yet to complete the game's 4 areas, each with 3 levels, but this hasn't stopped my enjoyment in any way. Each time you die and return to the beginning, you've learned something new. You've seen the limits of your chosen character, or you've unlocked a new character, earned some chicken nuggets, which are the ongoing currency that carries over when you die, and have the ability to make your next run more intriguing than the last. As you progress further and the more chicken nuggets you amass along the way, the more options become available to change the ongoing gameplay, through unlocking traits that will be available to choose from when leveling up, and mutations that will affect gameplay significantly. The procedurally generated level design means each time you jump back into the game there are slight differences, but the overarching rules that govern the world never change. Driven by an awesome, catchy and funky soundtrack, your runs through the world of Streets of Rogue are usually fast-paced and occasionally frantic, but they're just so supremely designed. And there is so much to learn about the way this game plays and the rules set in the background by the developer in each run you attempt. I cannot recommend this game enough if you're a fan of either the roguelike or immersive sim genre, and the splendid fun that permeates the game keeps you coming back for more each and every time. Thanks as always for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this. I also usually do in-depth reviews of some bigger games as well, and lists and news pieces. If there's anything you'd like to see me cover on the channel, drop it in the comments, or find me over on Twitter at Direckt Gaming. You can also check me out alongside some amazing and creative people. Just search YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify for Spawn Respawn. We do a weekly podcast, but we're also doing video content now as well. And if you want to keep up with all of us, follow us on Twitter at SpawnRespawnPC. You can also find a lot of my work in text form over on 181gaming.com. And finally, if you want to help raise money for an amazing cause, search for hashtag Project181 on Twitter for more info. We're trying to raise money for Gamers Outreach to get a go-kart in a kids' hospital. These go-karts are mobile gaming units with a console, monitor, controllers and loads of games that are available for kids in hospitals around the world and help these kids enjoy the world's best pastime. Check out the link in the description for more information. I'll also put a link down there so you can donate directly. We'd love any little bit of help that you can afford. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.